Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Radha Nat Radha Radha Nat Radhe. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jaya Om Vishnupada Paramhamsa Privrakacharya Asatastara Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Jaya Om Vishnupada Paramhamsa Privrakacharya Asatastara Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Prem se Kahak Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai, Shriman Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Giri Raj Govardhan ki jai. Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet Nasta Prayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So today we're reading from the 4th canto, chapter 7, text 11 to 13, I think, because the text 11 and 12 don't have a purport. So we'll do text 13, which has a purport. Okay, so text 11. Bhavastavaya kritadhi nashaknod anugragata odkantyad paspakalaya sampiraptam sutam smaran. Translation. King Daksha wanted to offer prayers to Lord Shiva, but he remembered his ill-fated death of his daughter Sati. His eyes filled with tears, and in bereavement his voice choked up, and he could not say anything. Prichat sambhya shamanaha prema vivalita sudhi samasane vyalikena bhavanesham prajapatihi. At this time, King Daksha, afflicted by love and affection, was very much awakened to his real senses. With great endeavor, he pacified his mind, checked his feelings, and with pure consciousness began to offer prayers to Lord Shiva. Text 13. Daksha uvacha bhuyan anugraha bhava bhavata krito me dandavastvaya mai brito yad api pralabdha na brahma bandashu chavam bhagavan avagyan tubhyam harescha kuto eva dristavartishu. So, do you have the pages with you? Maybe you can recite this together. Okay, so line by line. Daksha uvacha, text 13. Daksha uvacha, bhuyan anugraha aho bhavat. Okay. Bhuyan anugraha aho bhavato krito me. Bhuyan anugraha aho bhavata krito me. Dandastvaya mai brito yad api pralabdha. Na brahma bandashu cha vam bhagavan avagya. Bhuyam harescha kuto eva jitavartishu. Tubhyam harescha kuto eva jitavartishu. Bhuyan anugraha aho bhavato krito me. Dandastvaya mai brito yad api pralabdha. Na brahma bandashu chavams bhagavan avagya. Tubhyam harescha kuto eva dritavartishu. We'll do it one more time. Bhuyan anugraha aho bhavato krito me. Dandastvai mai brito yad api pralabdha. Na brahma bandashu chavams bhagavan avagya. Tubhyam harescha kuto eva dritavartishu. You may repeat. Say. Daksha uvacha. Bhuyan anugraha aho bhavato kriyakto me. Tubhyam harescha kuto eva dritavartishu. Someone else? Mataji? Okay. All right, we'll do the translation if no one's up to it. So the translation goes as follows. King Daksha said, "My dear Lord Shiva, I committed a great offense against you, but you are so kind that instead of withdrawing your mercy, you have done me a great favor by punishing me. You and Lord Vishnu never neglect even useless, unqualified brahmanas. Why then should you neglect me, who am engaged in performing sacrifices?" So you may repeat. King Daksha said, "My dear Lord Shiva, I committed a great offense against you, but you are so kind that instead of withdrawing your mercy, you have done me a great favor by punishing me. You and Lord Vishnu never neglect even useless, unqualified brahmanas. Why then should you neglect me, who am engaged in performing sacrifices?" Okay, so purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Right. Although Daksha felt defeated, he knew that his punishment was simply a great mercy of Lord Shiva. He remembered that Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu are never neglectful of the brahmanas, even though the brahmanas are sometimes unqualified. According to Vedic civilization, a descendant of a brahmana family should never be heavily punished. This was exemplified by Arjuna's treatment of Ashvatthama. Ashvatthama was the son of a great brahmana, Dronacharya, and in spite of having committed a great offense of killing all the sleeping sons of the Pandavas, for which he was condemned, even by Lord Krishna, Arjuna excused him by not killing him because he happened to be the son of a brahmana. The word brahmana bandhushu also is used here is significant. Brahmana bandhu means a person who is born of a brahmana father but whose activities are not up to the standard of the brahmanas. Such a person is not a brahmana but is a brahma bandhu. Daksha proved himself to be a Brahma Bandhu. He was born of a great Brahmin father, Lord Brahma, but his treatment of Lord Shiva was not exactly Brahminical. Therefore, he admitted that he was not a perfect Brahmana. Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu, however, are affectionate even to an imperfect Brahmana. Lord Shiva punished Daksha not as one does his enemy. Rather, he punished Daksha just to bring him to his senses, so that he would know that he had done wrong. Daksha could understand this, and he acknowledged the great mercy of Lord Krishna and Lord Shiva towards the fallen Brahmanas, including even himself. Although he was fallen, his vow was to execute the sacrifice as is the duty of the Brahmanas, and thus he began his prayers to Lord Shiva. Om Jnana-timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Tadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchikalpatarubhescha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So we'll try to say something on this verse and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So here in this purport, Prabhupada says that although Daksha was born of a Brahmin family, a Brahmin father, he still considered himself fallen because he committed an offense, and in this way he begged for forgiveness. So we are all not coming from Brahmin families, we're all coming from Sudra families, and but somehow or the other, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we have gotten this great opportunity to rectify ourselves and go back to the spiritual world by the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and by the 9 processes of devotional service, and also by trying not to commit any offenses. I know sometimes it's a bit, you can't help it, it happens. And at that time we should try to beg for forgiveness, and in order to rectify ourselves, right? So we don't impede our spiritual advancement. So with a sort of regretful heart today, I beg any of you who's listening that if I've committed any offenses against you, please forgive me. Hare Krishna. So we'll see, since it's Women's Day, I thought of actually speaking on this topic regarding women abuse. So we see that in South Africa, women abuse is very prevalent, in that men are abusing women more because of alcohol-related issues. Men have higher intelligence, so it needs to be channeled, he needs to channel his energy so not to cause any harm to those who are dependent on him. And especially a woman is very dependent on a male for protection. So in this way, men, instead of abusing a woman, they should actually try to assist her, right? Spiritually and materially on the physical level, like that. So we see that people are not educated in this day and age, Kali Yuga, to see a woman as a mother. Rather, men take women to be an object of sense enjoyment, and rather than their spouse or their better half. So this is so sad that we're living in an age like this where, women are being abused physically and mentally by their spouses. Every day, 71 women are being abused here in South Africa itself by rape, domestic violence, alcohol, and drugs, drug-related. The government is trying to curb this, but we understand that it's going to be a failure because there's no God in, it's not God-related. So if it's, somehow they put Krishna there, or they put whoever they worship, and work on that basis, then there's, some benefits will come of it. But no, they won't do that. So we see that, any problem in this material world, it relates to the bodily functions, right? It relates to the body. But we should understand that we are spirit soul, and if we take it from there that we are spirit souls, then we won't cause harm, to even a creature, right? So in this way, what to speak of? Jai Shri Radharanath ki jai, Shriman Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Go Premanande. Yes, so I was saying that, in today's age that we're living in, today's society, in Kali Yuga, they can never curb any material problem, right? Because it has to, you have to see it in relation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, your material problems cannot be solved. Yesterday, Maharaj was talking about Draupadi. When one insults a woman, especially as of a stature as Draupadi, and she was being disrobed by her own family members, actually, and insulted in front of superiors like the grandfather Bhishma, teachers, Dronacharya, like that. So she was being disrobed, and she pleaded for help, but nobody came to her aid. So we see that Maharaj said that actually when one abuses a woman, he shortens his lifespan. This is a Vedic injunction, actually. When one abuses a woman, not only devotee women, but any other woman. If one abuses a woman, he shortens his lifespan. So, the best thing we can do to actually put this out there is get people to chant Hare Krishna, because only by chanting Hare Krishna can we actually get people to come to a part of devotional life, or give them a chance to come to spiritual life by some means in order to come to this understanding of this Vedic knowledge. So we see in scripture how we need to surrender to many female personalities in order to make spiritual advancement. As Vaishnavas, we need to surrender to Tulsi Maharani, right? To get her mercy, and every morning we sing the Tulsi prayers, and go around to circumambulate her in order to get rid of our sinful reactions. And Bhakti Devi, she will also, help us on the path of performing our bhakti. And also Srimati Radharani, because without the mercy of Srimati Radharani, we cannot attain Krishna or Golok Vrindavan. So it's only by the mercy of these great personalities that we can actually make spiritual advancement. In the Vedas also it is stated that, if one is materially motivated, then if he wants money, who does he go to? Let's hear it. Who's a personality in charge of Lakshmi? Lakshmi Devi, right? Money. You have to go to a female personality. You have to go to Lakshmi Devi. If you want knowledge, who do you go to? Saraswati. Right, Mother Saraswati. And if you want to discharge basically Durga Devi is in charge of this whole material manifestation, right? And she keeps you bound here because she doesn't want any riffraffs, call it like that, to go back to the spiritual world. She wants, persons who are freed from material nature and material contamination. Therefore, she keeps us bound here. So she has a thankless task, in that she has to keep us here. But when one takes up to devotional service, then she facilitates that, and she allows you to go back to the spiritual world. She, she finds you a spiritual master, and in that way she makes progress. So then she is known as Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya Samanvitaha. In this way, Yoga Maya actually help us in our devotional practice in order to go back home, back to Godhead. And then if you want a nice wife or a husband, you pray to Katyani, right? So in this way, the female representations are even there in the Vedic literatures. So, and we need to respect them, right? And, when a girl gets married, they say that Lakshmi Devi is coming into the house. Did you hear this phrase? When someone gets married, they say there's a new Lakshmi coming into this house. This means that this girl is going to bring all auspiciousness to the house, right? So I've written a poem here on Draupadi. Would you like to share it? So, 5 charming knights in armor, meaning her husbands, right? 5 charming knights in armor, but none can save me from being publicly humiliated, pleading, begging, crying, holding on as my sari is being stripped. What great offense, can't you see? I'm a wife, mother, daughter, granddaughter. I'm not your local society girl. I bore your sons. I brought honor and prestige to your dynasty. Do something, men of repute. All else fails, then I shall throw up my hands and call, Hey Govinda, where are you? My Lord, you are unique. My Lord, by your unique incarnation, you come to my rescue. You are my one and only hero. You are indeed seated in my heart. You know my heart, and you feel my pain. Hey Govinda, obeisance unto you. A dear servant may I remain. So this is the story of Draupadi. If you don't know the story of Draupadi, we'll just tell it quickly. So Draupadi was the wife of the 5 Pandavas, and she was basically won in a gambling match. She was won over by the Kauravas, right? So in this way, she Duryodhan, he called her to the assembly hall, and he wanted to strip her naked in front of all the great assembled Kuru leaders. And this is what he actually did, Dushashan went and he caught her by her hair, and he brought her to the assembly hall. And there, she was crying and she was pleading, like, why are you doing this? Please leave me alone. And in this way, he tried to pull on her to her sari, and he was disrobing her. And she was crying and pleading, but nobody could actually save her because she was won in the gambling match. The 5 Pandavas could not do anything. So in this way, here she was crying and she was calling out for help. Nobody could save her. Then she puts her one arm in the air and she's calling for help for Krishna. Krishna, please come help me. Please save me. But Krishna did not come. Unless and until she put both her hands in the air and she called for Krishna, then only did he come to her rescue, and he incarnated as a sari. So when Dushashan was pulling onto her sari, he was like pulling and pulling and pulling, and there was no limit to the sari. And because this was Krishna that he was actually Krishna is unlimited, so he supplied unlimited sari, and in this way, Dushashan, he failed to disrobe Draupadi. So we see that only Krishna came to her rescue, and she was saved. In her chastity was saved in that way. So, so that's the pastime of Draupadi. Now I've written another poem on another great personality, a female personality, and this is on Sita Devi, Sita's lamentation. So I'll just read it and we'll try to explain it as I'm going by, right? Sita's heart shattered as she heard the news of Ram's banishment. Her perturbed mind pleaded again and again to share the wicked punishment. Disaster struck one after another. Go, Lakshman, go, save your brother. Ravan's wrath to one so tender, has he abducted the fair princess? She was tormented by the demoness, for evil is what they possess. She cried in separation of Ram, the love of her life, only to be his loving and faithful wife. As war cries resounded, victory triumphed, and to the throne they ascended. It was short-lived though, for Valmiki's ashram she had to go. Lamentation and separation once more. Rama, O Rama, how much suffering should I endure? I'd rather stay in my mother's embrace than to be ridiculed and publicly disgraced. So here also we see that Sita Devi on her marriage, she was married to Lord Ramachandra, and thereafter, when it was Ram's coronation, they were banished to the forest, right, for 14 years. And she wouldn't go without him, so she accompanied Lord Ram to the forest. In this way, they went through many hardships in the forest, and it so happened that Ravan came to abduct her, right, to steal her away. And in this way, Lakshman, although he was put in charge of Lord Shiva to keep, at least to Sita Devi, for her not to be harmed, but when they heard the cries for Ram, that he's calling for help, but in the meantime it wasn't Ram, it was Marichi, right, who came in the form of a deer, and he allured Sita, and Sita asked Lakshman to go and she asked Ram to go and get the deer. So Ram went, and thereafter he told Lakshman, you stay behind and you take care of Sita. So in that way, this is what Lakshman did. But it so happened that Marichi was calling out in the voice of Ram for help, and he did not want to leave Sita, but she said, "No, you please go, go and save your brother." And then this is what happened: that Lakshman went off, but before going, he drew a Lakshman Rekha around, and he told her, "Please do not step out of this." So she said, "Yes, you please go." So Lakshman went on his way, and eventually Ravan came and to abduct her, but he could not cross the Lakshman Rekha because it was like fiery, so he could not go over it. And then he came like a beggar, and he pleaded for some food. And in Vedic tradition, you don't stand at your door and offer someone food. You go out of the doorway, right? So in this way, when Sita went out of the Lakshman Rekha, this is when Ram abducted her. At least Ravan had abducted her, and he took her away. And there she was tormented by the demonesses, right? And she basically used to always think of Lord Ram. So she was in separation of Lord Ram. She cried in separation of Ram, the love of her life, only to be his faithful and loving wife. As war cries resounded, and then the story goes as follows: that Ram came in search of her, and there was a war, and that's when Ravan was killed, and Sita was basically released, and she went back to live with Ram. But we see that it was short-lived because she had to prove her chastity, right? And the fire was built, and she was to enter fire to prove her chastity, and like that was like, a bit too much. And we see that afterwards, the earth just opened up and swallowed her, because she was born of the earth. The earth was her mother. And so the last part of the poem goes as follows: lamentation and separation once more. Then she went to Valmiki's ashram, and she stayed there for a while after proving her chastity. She stayed there for a while, and she had 2 sons, Love and Kush. And then when she came back, so she had to, prove her chastity once more. And then that's when she basically told Mother Earth, please, take me away. And that's when the whole earth opened up, and Sita Devi just went into that, right? And said, "O Rama, how much suffering should I endure? I'd rather stay in my mother's embrace than to be ridiculed and publicly disgraced." So in this way, we see that Sita Devi, basically a great harm was caused to her, and that is why Ravan's life shortened as well. And he was killed by Lord Ramachandra. So yes, dear devotees, we see that from many instances in the Bhagavatam, in the Vedic scriptures like the Mahabharata, like this, that when offenses are caused to women, then the person doesn't live long, right? And we'll see that in most cases in South Africa or around the world as well, that when because of women abuse, right, men die early as well. They die early because they have no knowledge that by ill-treating their wives, that they're bringing upon their death, basically. So we find that women live a much longer lives than men. And so, basically it's related more to drug and alcohol abuse, like that. But even men in the right senses, if they're afflicted by anger and by lusty desires like this, so in this way they also abuse women. So we can see that from Vedic scripture how much of knowledge we can get on how to live in this world nicely and not subject ourselves to harm. So I'll just going out from this from these incidents now to another incident more on a spiritual level, and on basically relating the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I just want to share one pastime with you. So let me just go there. So we see that my Guru Maharaj recites a very nice pastime at Radhavan. Radhavan is a forest of Radharani. And he says that in this vicinity of Radhavan, Radhakund is there. right? And one day, Lalita and Vishaka was braiding, Radharani's hair with flowers and jewels and ornaments like this. And Krishna would sometimes braid Radharani's hair. We know that famous pastime at Kusum Sarovar, where Krishna braided Radharani's hair. So once Krishna hid himself in the Yamuna, so this is the pastime. Once Krishna hid himself in the Yamuna, amongst the cluster of blue lotuses, so that he could not be detected, because the nature of his body, the color of his body is blue as well. So he hid himself in the blue lotuses so he could not be detected. Then the gopis and Radharani came to sport and play in the water of the Yamuna. And as they were playing and sporting, Radharani was seeing the glories of Krishna. And she was in total bliss, just like playing in the water and singing the glories of Krishna, because all they could think was of Krishna, right? And she was enjoying herself like that. And suddenly there was a roar, and Krishna jumped up, and Radharani was covered with lotus leaves and petals. So he jumped out of this, his hiding place, right? And Radharani was like totally bewildered, and she was shocked, like, what is this? She screamed and got such a fright. And she thought that it was a demon, right? Because there were always demons coming to Vrindavan to harass the residents of Vrindavan. So she thought it was a demon. And then she saw it was Krishna floating in the water, and he was laughing, and he was having a good old laugh, because, he saw the expression on Radharani's face. And Radharani thought that this was no laughing matter, and she was like really, really very angry. And she stormed out, and her fear turned into anger. And the gopis followed her, and they went on the shore, and then, Krishna, feeling dejected, he got out of the water, and he also went to the shore, and he was like, he was thinking, like, what am I going to do now? How am I going to pacify Radharani? So we know when Radharani gets angry, this is her man, and she basically, it's very hard for Krishna to pacify her. So sometimes when Radharani is in Yavad, Yavad is where she would live with Abhimanyu. She was married in Yavad, and she would stay at the house of Abhimanyu. And Krishna would sometimes try to sneak in and go to see Radharani, and he would pacify her and try to plead with her to open the door, and she would not open the door. So in this way, the gopis would come out of the room, and they would chastise Krishna. And we see that Lalita would say, Radharani is drenched in love of a red color, like a gunja seed. Right? Radharani's love is like a gunja seed. A gunja seed is red in color. But she'll say, but your love, Krishna, is red like a parrot's beak. So in this way, she says that, the parrot's beak is just like one part of it is red. It's like just the little parts, right? But the gunja seed, the whole thing is red. So she'll describe this love like this, and she will try to, compare Radharani's love to Krishna's love. And so while Krishna was sitting there dejected, and he did not know what to do, how to help himself and pacify Radharani, then Rangadevi appeared. And Rangadevi, we know, she would facilitate Radha and Krishna's pastimes. And she came with all her paraphernalia, with clothes and ornaments, and she had to put them in the storehouse. So as she walked by with her companions, so Krishna saw this, and he called her, and he described his predicament, in what situation he was. Like, how can I pacify Radharani? So Vrindadevi dressed Krishna as a young, beautiful gopi, right? And he went to Radharani, and Radharani could not recognize Krishna. And she said, so who is this beautiful girl? And it bewildered her mind. So she spoke to this beautiful girl, who is Krishna. She said, "O moon-faced one, who are you? Come be my friend." So in this way, Krishna, being the gopi, he was trembling, and she asked the gopi, "Why are you trembling?" "It's because you're waiting for Krishna to come, and maybe he's in one of the groves here." Then she took the gopi by the wrist, and she began to. As soon as she grabbed onto the wrist of the gopi, she could feel ecstatic symptoms, and then she recognized who it was. It was Krishna. Right? And Radharani began smiling, and in this way, Haman was appeased, and they enjoyed blissful pastimes like that. So, just to bring it on a lighter note, so I related this story. So, this pastime of Radha and Krishna in Radhavan. So, I think I'll end here. We have 5 minutes more, and maybe we can take some contributions and some questions, if you have any. If anyone would like to say anything related to this pastime or to a Women's Day, you're most welcome to. Mostly Mataji is here, so maybe you can say something. Anyone? Ujjvala? Nothing. Okay. So let's end our class now. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyevacha patitanam pavinebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.